What is going on, everybody? PintSizeAnalyze here, and in this week's podcast episode, I'm going to be discussing the Seattle Mariners' recent 2-5 stretch of play. Yeah, 2-5 since I last recorded an episode. Well, actually, they are 2-6, I believe. Or no, 2-5. Yeah, because they would have won last Saturday, and then they lost last Sunday, so 0-1, and then they won on Monday and Tuesday. Miraculous come behind in the top of the ninth on Monday against the Yankees, and then they won Tuesday against the Yankees. So that would be 2-2. No, 2-1. I mean, and then they lost the next two to the Yankees, so that would be 2-3, and then they lost the first two and unfortunately the series to the Washington Nationals to start. But they still have tomorrow, and they have a favorable pitching matchup with Bryan Woo going up against Patrick Corbin. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. Later into the episode. But let's get started into it. I want to start with Dylan Moore and his excellent road trip. Dylan Moore has been a very, very valuable piece for the team. I'm going to go to Fangraphs, and I'm going to look at his recent stretch of games. He's been a very, very valuable piece, stepping in for J.P. Crawford at shortstop, which I had talked about on some previous episodes. J.P. is now back, but Dylan has been playing so well that he is basically in an everyday utility role, if that makes sense. So wherever he is needed, whether that's second base or third base or left field or right field, he has been playing there. He now has a 146 WRC plus in the season. 1.3 F4, might actually be 1.4. I'm not certain. But let's go to game log. All right, so if we go to his, let's go to the start of the road trip. I'm curious about what his numbers are on the road trip alone. This road trip would have began last Friday. And this does not include today, but he's on a 291 WRC plus on this road trip. 9 for, how many at-bats? 9 for 24 in 32 plate appearances with a 21% walk percentage. Yeah, that's crazy. 12% K percentage, 375 average, 531 on base, 917 slugging. I believe he has 8 extra base hits. If we go to the standard, though, let's see how many walks he's at. 7 walks to 4 strikeouts. So, yeah, that's big. He's clearly seeing the ball very, very well. Getting basically the ideal results. Two stolen bases as well. I believe both of those stolen bases came yesterday. Dylan Moore's speed is kind of diminished yearly in his career. If I go to Savant, we'll see that. But he's still a generally good base runner, still generally athletic, and still able to steal a base every now and then, which is good to see. If we go to the percentile, though, and this could also just be, Dylan Moore's 31, kind of makes sense, but yeah, still in the 67th percentile. But if we go back to like 2019, it was 82nd at 28.4, 2020, 71 percentile. Okay, so actually maybe it's not gone that down a lot. Let's see. Okay, no, actually it was up in 2021. So yeah, he's consistently been like, it's gone up a little bit since last year. 27.7 was 59th percentile last year. What's it at now? 27.7. Wow, that's interesting. Exact same, but it's gone up 8%. So the league is definitely slower as a whole this year. But if we go to the bat tracking, though, I hope this just has the percentiles, but I know that Demo has some of the highest top end bat speed on the team. That's the next section. My bad. Didn't mean to spoil that. But if we go back to this Fangraphs tab, come on. There we go. Okay, actually, it's fine. I'll just look at his season as a whole. So yeah, if we go back to Fangraphs, though, overall on the season, he's walking 12.8%, which is excellent, 23.5%. So that's actually a career low in strikeout percentage. He's consistently been around a 30% strikeout guy. I don't know if that's likely to continue at that low at 23%, but I think it's personally perfectly reasonable to expect that, he might end up with a 26% strikeout percentage this year. And then nearly a career high walk percentage, although he actually had a career high in 2022. Let's see, yeah, that 144 WRC plus, although I'm pretty sure it's up to, 146 after today. If we go to home runs, 6 home runs. He had 7 last year, so nearly matched last year's output. And I think he has a really, really good chance of hitting a career high, maybe even 20 home runs, which I don't know if I like ever expected that kind of production out of a player like Dylan Moore, but he's here. Last year already matched his RBI and run total from last year, eclipsed stolen base total from last year. And yeah, I mean, it's just again, he did not have a spring training, and last year he had that core injury. Was able to, kind of be eased in with some rehab stints, but it's still just not the same as a full-on ramp up where in spring training as a position player where you feel like fully equipped for the season, still just having to make an adjustment from AAA pitching to MLB pitching in a, from one night to another, literally last year. It wasn't like he had a spring training to build up and, see arms of varying quality. If we go to, I'm curious though about his StatCast. So the barrel percentage, let's see, it's at 9.9%. That's actually really interesting. It's actually down from last year. So, and again, it was likely a small sample size variance. Yeah, only 89 appearances last year. But I remember there was a time where Dylan Moore, and I've talked about it before, had like the second highest xwOBA minimum, like 50 plate appearances, or xwOBA con minimum 50 plate appearances behind like Aaron Judge, and that was in August when after he had gone on like that insane heater, including when the Mariners swept the Astros. It was like after that I had noticed that. So I remembered, but yeah, still barrel percentage of 9.9 is still excellent. Let's see what that is, or still maybe not excellent, but still good. Let's see what that is this year. 70th percentile. So yeah, like plus, we'll say. Yeah, plus bat speed as well. Average exit velocity, which I generally don't look at, but that's still good. Also 95th percentile in sweet spot. That's really interesting. Not chasing at all. Whiff percentage, not whiffing a whole lot. K percentage, still not great, but I mean, that's still kind of, that's still pretty good. I'm still happy that Dylan Moore's K percentage is only 23.5%. Walk percentage, 12.8, 89th percentile. That's excellent. So yeah, even though it's not a career high in walk percentage, he's still walking a really, really good amount. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about overall was I wanted to talk about the team's kind of team-wide struggles against velocity, because I feel like that's been one of kind of a bugaboo for the team. We know there was like the whole, and it was especially apparent after the first series, but it's kind of continued, the spin it to win it motto, where a lot of teams were throwing the Mariners anything but fastballs and sinkers. But the Mariners have also really struggled against velocity. So they're not particularly bad against fastballs, but against 97 plus, they have had some really kind of troubling results. So I went to Baseball Savant and I inputted fastballs and sinkers, and then I put 97 plus, and then I sorted by team. So the lowest batting average, and again, actually, I should probably now, I don't know if this, I want to preface this by saying, I don't know if this is an excuse, if it's bad, but the Mariners have actually faced 97 miles per hour plus, one of the least amount of any team, like the 5th least or 6th least, tied with the Guardians and the White Sox. So it could also, well, actually, I'm not going to say that. They faced it below the MLB league average, so there is a chance that it could potentially be that they haven't faced a lot of velocity and they aren't, like, the hitters aren't used to it. Which I mean, their timing's just not there, which I think could make sense. But it's still, I would hope that would change sooner rather than later, considering how I feel like the players are definitely in season mode now. But if we go to batting average, and I also included like expected batting average, expected slug, but we'll get into that. So the lowest batting average, the Mariners had the second lowest behind the Marlins. And then if we go to the Tigers, who are somehow hitting like 357, I mean, that's just crazy. Like hitting 357 off 97 miles per hour plus, it's just like definitely a small sample size thing. If we go though to the expected batting average though, Mariners are not as bad, 219. So like a bit of a difference there. And again, it's also such a small sample size. They've only faced 148 pitches over 97 miles an hour. So, I would say with like these XBA and X slug, I would give it probably like more like 250 or 300 pitches to normalize. Expected slugging, the Mariners are one of the lowest teams. Expected slugging, Again, one of the lowest teams, like 8th lowest or 9th lowest. WOBA, 6th lowest. Now, that is interesting. The Dodgers actually are like the worst team against 97 plus by WOBA. So, I mean, and that's like a cream of the crop lineup along with Atlanta. So, you could argue maybe it's not that concerning for the Mariners, but it could definitely be concerning if in October if they're going up against a frontline starter who's able to, pump 97 with every pitch, which the Mariners have like some starters who are almost capable of that and capable of that sometimes, like Castillo, who will, like, in the wild card game, I believe he was averaging like 99 on his fastball. So there's times where he can dial it up to that velo, but generally he's sitting more 96. If we go to xWOBA though, again, like 8th lowest. Hard hit percentage, this anything over 95 plus, one of the lowest. Well, actually, like probably league average, closer to league average. 41.7% hard hit percentage. Barrel to batted ball event. This is actually interesting. Marlins have the lowest batting average against 97 plus, but they have the highest barrel to batted ball event against 97 plus. Let's see. Mariners again on the low, league average. I'll say league average. Barrel to plate appearance. This is like barrel percentage usually. 4.5%. Okay, so yeah, again, like league average. So yeah, again, they're just not really faring well against 97 plus. We could change it to 95 plus though. Let me just see. I would say 95 plus is kind of, I'd say good velo versus like elite velo. So overall pitch percentage, let's see, Mariners again, one of the lowest, but again, still like a significant bump up. But yeah, again, faced velo, one of the lowest out of any team. Batting average, let's see. Again, one of the lowest batting averages. Expected batting average, yeah, again, like fifth lowest. And like with some kind of bad teams. I mean, I know they just lost the series to the Nationals, but they weren't predicted to be great. Colorado and Detroit are not really great. Cleveland's actually been playing well, but slug, let's see, Mariners again, like 7th or 8th lowest. Expected slug, 4th lowest or 5th lowest. WOBA, 5th lowest. And again, this is 95 plus, 5th lowest. So 6th lowest, I mean. So, yeah, hard hit percentage. Let's see about that, though. Okay, actually, so one of the highest hard hit percentages against 95 plus. That is interesting. And then let's see barrel to batted ball event. Oh, about league average, right? Yeah, about league average, okay. Barrel percentage to plate appearance. 4.8. Okay, so yeah, again, this team's kind of been struggling against top end velo, and even like good velo, which is kind of a scary thing. Not great, but yeah, they're faring well against like other fastballs, I'd say though. And then the next thing I want to talk about was Luke Raley's resurgence. So let's get into that. So Luke Raley, basically, well, let's get his. Let me get his. I'll just compare his like April numbers or April and March numbers to his May numbers. I believe he started to kind of get a little bit hotter near the end of May, or near the end of April, but okay, so, and then please let me select that. Okay, to April 30th. So, why did that happen? Okay, so from opening day through April 30th, Luke Raley was slashing 218, 232, 273, for 223 WOBA and 45 WRC plus. Terrible. Let's see about the end. So last week he had a few hits. Won the last, like, fourth last game of the month, but yeah, largely not great. Now, let's go May 1st through May 25th. And I believe Raley played today, but yeah, he did. But that's not included, but that's okay. So 176 WRC plus this 176 WRC plus this month, slashing 339, 381, 576, 415 WOBA, 4.8 walk percentage, which is not great, but only striking out 22% of the time. That's something that I shouldn't have looked at, but I definitely believe he was like striking out at least 35% of the time, or at least 30% of the time. 20 hits this month in 63 plate appearances. Yeah, 4 home runs, so like every home run he's hit. Also stolen 2 bases. Let's go to his overall season numbers, though, because his overall season numbers now actually look great because of, how great this hot stretch has been. And he's also providing base running and defensive value. He's athletic, like a genuinely good defender, genuinely good corner defender. Okay, there we go. So 114 WRC plus overall on the season, 281 batting average. Or no, wait. Well, let's just see if I can. Can I please get the live stat? No. Why? This is not what I asked for. I'm just going to look up Luke Raley. Because it was not letting me go back. All right, so will the Fangraphs page please load? All right, slashing 271, 301, 415 on the season for a 107 WRC plus. So 107 WRC plus does not look great, but 2.4 walk percentage, 26% strikeout rate. So actually struck out twice today, which is and went 0 for 4, but I mean, he's going to struggle. But he's been providing otherwise great production, 0.5 F4 now, and I believe he was at negative F4 after the first month just because of how rough it was at the plate. Last year, though, he slashed 249, 333, 490. He's only slashing, or only at a 430 slug this year. His ISO was at 241 last year, at 149 this year, but I definitely think that his power is starting to come back, or not come back, but it was always there, but really just start to show up in games. He's been kind of on like a power stretch recently, and yeah, he definitely has like that. You can definitely see the power in his swing. If we go to next, I wanted to talk about the final topic of the episode was going to be George Kirby's inconsistencies, or one of the final talking things was going to be George Kirby's inconsistencies, because he unfortunately gave up 5 earned runs yesterday and was charged with the loss as the Mariners lost 6-1, and he's just kind of been inconsistent from start to start. So I want to just look at that. Let's go. I want to look at the game log and just talk about that. Because some of the starts, kind of made sense. Like he had a start in the early season against Colorado where his velo was down, and he's been dealing with a knee injury. It's kind of been a weird season for him so far. So, so sitting at a 4.33 ERA, 3.61 FIP, 1 F4 in 62 innings pitched, 22% strikeout rate, 2.4 walk percentage. So, that's normal from Kirby. Let's see, what was the walk percentage at last year? 2.5%. So walk percentage is actually down this year by 0.1%. I know George would still be happy about that. The FIP is up by 0.3 of a run. The ERA is up by over a run, or almost a run. Velo is down, but not noticeably. Strikeout and walk numbers are about the same though. 22.7 strikeout percentage last year, 22.4 this year. So yeah, about the same. But there's just been kind of some bad BABIP luck a little bit. Let's see the BABIP. Let's compare BABIPs. And I also want to, preface this by saying I definitely think he's going to get back. So actually, yeah, BABIP is actually down this year. Batting average against is down. That's one thing that to note though, and I feel like that's important. The left on base percentage is down by 7%, and I believe league average left on base percentage is 74%. It was at 75 the past 2 years, so just barely above league average. But for George, it's gone down a little bit, and that could also be leading to some, or that's likely some inherited runs there, in that his left on base percentage is down, and I would definitely expect it to go up. Like there will be some seasons like 2021, Robbie Ray comes to mind. When he was the Cy Young winner with the Blue Jays, he had a very, very high left on base percentage, and that's kind of how he was able to limit runs, kind of in a lucky way. Same as Blake Snell. Well, you can argue lucky, whatever, but I would say lucky. Let's go to the game log though. So the first start in the year for George was really, really great. That's when he went 6 2/3 against Boston, shut him out. He had 2 walks also. I believe those 2 walks were in the first inning, but then kind of cruised from then on. And then the second game was like one of his worst starts. The second start was like one of his worst starts of his major league career. He gave up 8 runs. That was a definite clunker. And then start after that, 4 innings against Toronto, not great. Kind of rebounded a little bit against Cincinnati, and then started to rebound again against Colorado. And honestly, like this stretch against Colorado, Arizona, and Houston, even after the Mariners ended up losing that game against Houston, kind of seemed like he was, starting to be back. He looked just electric in that start against the Diamondbacks. He had 12 strikeouts. And then after that was the start against Minnesota. Again, he kind of got... They were kind of on him early, and that's kind of that's kind of what happened with a lot of teams. The Royals, I was kind of concerned about this matchup as well because they're a team that will generally swing early in the count. They're prepared, and he actually just mowed him down. He went 7 innings pitched that game, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 0 walks. He that was like one of his best starts of the year. His second best start of the year by game score after the one against Arizona. He had an 86 against Arizona. It was 80 against the Royals. And then in his start after that, he again got shelled against the Orioles, and he's gotten shelled since in the start yesterday against the Nationals. So it's been he had a really fantastic start just a few weeks ago, or about 12 days ago. So I definitely believe that he's going to turn it around, but it's just a little bit concerning because between the knee injury and I'm not really sure. It feels like the league has started to figure out his arsenal in a little bit, and some tweaks maybe in pitch shape I think could definitely benefit him. Because it seems like the league kind of knows what he's expected, and I know he has. I know he did, implement that new cutter slider instead of the slider that he was throwing. So he's definitely, he's a smart pitcher, and I believe that he'll recognize what adjustments those are. But I definitely think that some kind of remolding and remodeling of his pitch shapes would be helpful. And I think because, the command is so good, basically, I feel like any 80% of pitch shapes that he's going to throw out there are going to be usable for him because of his command. But there's a few pitch shapes out there that can just make him dominant with his command. So then the final topic I want to talk about was Bryan Woo. So he starts tomorrow. And I just wanted to talk about it. He was also dominant on Tuesday night against the Yankees. If we go to, I'll just go to Fangraphs right here, and I'll close that tab. So he was dominant against the Yankees on Tuesday. He went 6 innings pitched, giving up just 2 hits, I believe, 0 walks, and I think he had 7 strikeouts. And so, I want to talk about that. Also, I'm going to close that tab. And then I also am planning to pull up the pitch profiler stuff plus after this. But let's go to teams. And I'm going to the Stuff Plus grades on Fangraphs. Again, this is the Eno Saris Stuff Plus, so courtesy of Eno Saris. Thank you. And these are hosted on Fangraphs. I apologize. This is so slow. Like it's taken so long. I apologize. Okay. Okay, Stuff Plus Fastball. Let's see. Where's Bryan Woo? 101. So roughly league average fastball so far. Sinker at 121. His sinker definitely has a bump up. Best on the team. Wow, that's crazy. If we go to cutter, Gilbert's cutter is still looking really, really good. 130. And the cutter looked great today as well in his outing. Even though it was an unfortunate loss, the cutter looked largely good. Splitter. Bryce Miller splitters, unfortunately, now under 100 at Stuff Plus, 100 Stuff Plus on the Fangraphs Eno Saris model. Slider, let's see. Come on. Okay, the slider's at 114, so that's actually good. I'm actually, like, fine with that. Slider at 114, continue to go up, and then the changeup at 90. Yeah, okay. It's kind of unfortunate, but yeah. And then let's go to the pitch profiler now. And again, it'll be Bryan Woo against Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin has like a 6.39 ERA. Almost as many walks as strikeouts. I think he has like 30 strikeouts, like 22 walks or something like that. Like, he's not been very great this year. I'm hoping the Mariners will just tee off on him tomorrow. But yeah, and it'll be Bryan Woo again. Let's go to the pitch profile, though. All right, perfect. So, modeling. Okay. And then, so, let's see the other outing the other day. So the fastball was only at 99 the other day. The slider would have been at 107. Sinker was at 112. Sweeper was at 109. So breaking balls were solidly above average. Fastball was about average, and then the changeup was unfortunately again below league average. The changeup has been now a below league average offering in all three of his starts. He's not throwing it a lot, but it has been. And I'll pull up Woo, his Savant page again. I might as well, just to see. He's throwing, though, the breaking balls overall 16% of the time. Let's see the percentages. So yeah, four-seamer 50% of the time, sinker 22, changeup 9.2, and then sweeper 8.3, slider 8.3. If we go to, if we look at the heat maps though, so the slider, he's only thrown it 18 times. He's kind of establishing kind of a regular location there. He's thrown it a few times there, and then the sweeper, kind of establishing some areas where he can command it. Still kind of throwing it like also front door and back door though sometimes. Four-seamer has not been super elevated, but yeah, we'll see. Sinker definitely looks like he's been able to command it, and that includes like the spot on the zone where it kind of comes into like a righty's elbow. So yeah, or it comes from a righty's elbow into the zone. So that's an exciting spot. Also, changeup bottom, but not changeup. Command has been kind of inconsistent, but again, it's 20 pitches, so it feels a bit ridiculous. Same as the sliders. To be making a judgment about like how well I believe he can command them at this point. If we go to the individual pitches results against, though, every pitch has a 270 WOBA, xWOBA against or lower, 268 fastball, 244 sinker, 245 changeup, 50 on the slider, and 48 on the sweeper. That's crazy. They have been just excellent pitches so far. 2 strikeouts on both. 88 on the slider, 81.3 on the sweeper. They're also firmly different breaking balls, which is interesting. So the sweeper is averaging 16.2 inches a break, slider 3.5. Yeah, it's about hard hit percentage on the fastball 54. That's not great. 50 on the changeup, 46 on the sinker, and then 0. But there have not been many. There's been like 4 batted ball events on the breaking balls. So yeah, that's about it for this episode, though. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate I appreciate your view, your support, your watch. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope the Mariners win tomorrow. I hope Bryan Woo shoves. I hope they shell Patrick Corbin, and I hope they win 8-1. But yeah, that'll be all for today's episode. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever. Thank you all so much.